Get your Dragon Ball Figuarts at Big Bad Toy Store at the link in the description.
Dragon Ball, horror, kaiju, and more. Steven's Toy Reviews.
Hello there, collectors. It's going to be Steven here, and welcome to another Dragon Ball review, where today we're going to be taking a look at the SH Figuarts Super Saiyan Goku Legendary Super Saiyan. This is meant to recreate the final battle on planet Namek, where Goku is fighting the super buffed out form of Frieza, and he gets buffed himself. Super battle damage, clothes ripped off, and Namek explodes, and does Goku? I don't know, you'll have to find out on Dragon Ball Z. They've done some updating of articulation here and there with some of the recent Dragon Ball Figuarts, and this is going to be another design of Goku that we have not yet had in the line. So, is Tamashii Nations really putting their money where their mouth is by saying that they're pushing the articulation scheme even further beyond with this release of Goku, or is it just more of the same, but we have another Malibu Goku? Let's take a look to see whether or not it's worth adding into your collection, or it's another Vietnam quality control disaster. Guess what? We got a lot to talk about. Alright, so Sculpt and Paint. Well, here's what I will say. It's a little bit different than the promo pictures in a good way, actually. In the promo pics, it just seemed like there was some straight yellow hair, and it wasn't all that great. And what I will say is they actually went back and they added a little bit of an orange spray that made it more so in line with the Super Saiyan Warrior Awakening Goku, the original retail release, not the Tamashii Nations World Tour 1. Unfortunately, mine is packed away, and I was not able to find it in time for this review, so I will post an updated picture on my Twitter and my Instagram, so follow along there, and when I do happen to grab that, I will post a picture for you. But nevertheless, it is closer in line, not 1-to-1. But nevertheless, it does look better than what was in the promo pics. Also, a lot of folks will note that some of the figures that come out of Vietnam, that factory tend to have very, very glossy finish to them. Here, there's just a little bit of a gloss. It's not super duper bad, but hey, it's kind of there depending on how the light hits it. What I will say otherwise is that in terms of what is good for the figure is that there is going to be a different sort of gradient that is found on the pants. Sometimes folks say that when the Saiyans go Super Saiyan, they tend to get a little bit of an aura to them. So his pants have different variances of orange to them, which, hey, that's really good. Now, here's where the negatives come into play. You've already seen the chest, and of course, mine has the issue. Actually, they all have an issue. It's a production run issue, where the actual chest sculpt of Goku is going to be a different color compared to the rest of the skin tone for Goku. It is definitely noticeable in hand, and depending on the light, it is obviously going to be more notable or less notable. It's not going to be a matter of, oh, in person, it's better. No, I was in my kitchen, overhead lighting, very dim, because I have a dimmer switch, and as soon as I took it out of the packing box, it was the first thing that I noticed. It is definitely noticeable in hand. It just depends on the lighting. It may look worse. It may look better. It just depends. Otherwise, an issue that not only is the collector's division seemingly having these days, but also going down to the boys division, we're talking like vinyl toys for kids. Only the front of Goku's pants are painted. The back is not. It's almost as if they put masking tape on it and they were like, oh, no, that's it. Nobody's looking at this figure from the back at all, or there's never going to be a pose. And yeah, so what? They also did this with the superhero Goku as well. I don't know why they did that, but yeah. So if you can look past those two things, which I think the chest, okay, it's an issue, give or take. The pants, that's just kind of sloppy. I think Goku does look fine. Oh, it's $68. Yeah, I'm going to pass that back to you if it's going to be a deal breaker. As much as things seemingly change is about as much as they stay the same or even regress in some areas. There was a lot of mention of new joint technology and so forth that would be implemented into this Goku, but if you do have some of the more recent releases, including the Super Saiyan 4 Goku, then a lot of the stuff is basically going to feel the same. But there are some areas, show don't tell. All right, first and foremost, we are going to have to pop the head off just to show you how to head swap anyway, because we do get an alternate head part. But as you can see, it's going to be a double axis ball joint or a barbell style where the head plugs into the neck here and then that plugs into the neck. So Goku does have a pretty decent range of movement when we just talk about, come on, that. there we go. Okay, so just with that, Goku can look up about that far, look down about that far, and of course he can wiggle. And that at that point, it just kind of goes into the neck plugging into the body. So overall, Goku can look up that far, look down about that far, rock his head left and right, twist and turn all the way around. We do have a screaming faceplate. That extends his chin, and when you go to look down, that will sort of force the faceplate off along with the front bang part, so keep that in mind. That's basically going to be the only change for the articulation. For the shoulders, basically this is going to be similar to the Ultimate Gohan. This is going to be similar to the Super Saiyan 4 Goku, Krillin, where we are going to have that lead into the body where it's going to be like a ball joint that sort of sits in here to the chest cavity. That's going to pop up. Then we do have this hinge here that's going to plug into another ball joint. So we do have some good range of movement here. As you can see, I can rock the arm all the way around. We can cross the arm over. I'll show you a bit more in a second. Back, we can spin the arm all the way around on that ball joint that plugs into the joint here. Hinge allows us to raise and lower so he can T-pose about that much. And of course, because of the combination of joints, Goku can cross his arms actually almost all the way over like so. So that's really cool. Yep. All right, so we do have a dedicated bicep swivel so we can spin Goku's arms around, and we do have a double hinge elbow, which is neat. Just like that. For the wrists, standard Figuarts style peg that's going to plug into the forearm that I can actually show you because of this neat feature. So we do have to spin that swivel around, and then we do have a hinge. So we can move the wrist, and then the hand plugs in on a ball joint. So something that I noted is I originally thought that this wristband was actually going to be on a joint, and that moved, allowing for more range of movement. What it actually seems to be, because that was something that was in the promotional material, is that it is a floating piece, so it does spin and turn around, but what it also seems to help do is it does help to move around a little bit, not actually on a point of articulation, but you can also see some differences and intricacies in the sculpt, so this way, if you need to, say, move this around and spin it to better get another point of articulation range, you can do that. So not entirely limited at the wrist. For the ab crunch, we do have your standard ball joint, so we can move that around. And then, of course, we do have a ball jointed waist. So when it comes to the torso of Goku, he's fantastic. No real issues there. Yeah, cool. Nothing pops up or down. And then we do have this tie around his waist, which is on a swivel. I think maybe a ball joint, but whatever. This also turns around as well. For the hips, so even though they basically just kind of sort of changed how this looks, this is still going to be very similar to the original renewal style hips, because we do have the ball joint that plugs in here. Basically what they just did was they axed this sleeve and then they sculpted a butt. Okay, so this is where a problem with this particular Goku goes into play, because we do have the ability to kick the leg forward and kick the leg back a bit, but we do kick the leg back a bit more because he does have a softer material for his pants around his crotch, right? Cool. Okay, he can kick his legs out farther, which is admittedly more than that Raised on Earth Goku can do, but here's kind of where maybe it's just because of the quality control. We do have some swivels here, which is cool for the thigh swivel, but we don't really get that much range of movement. So we do get a little bit of twisting and we do get a little bit of turning, but more so it seems as if it's putting pressure. You can even see this sculpt here, this portion moving, and it seems like it's putting stress on the socket. I hope that's really more so a nothing issue, and it does seem like the thigh swivel is there, but I don't know. I don't feel like I'm getting a whole lot of range of movement. It is what it is. Double knee hinge, as you can see there. Then for the ankles, I saw a lot of people saying that the ankles really didn't have that much movement and he could just move down about that far. And he can't really move his feet up, but he does have a toe hinge. Here's the cool part. Oh, look at that. So there's a ball joint where it plugs into the bottom of the foot, and then that's where the ankle movement really opens up. So that's really cool. So really, my main gripe is going to be with the hips. I don't really like the hips too much. I think that something may be going on here with the quality. Maybe it's because of the softer plastic. It really feels like whenever I'm going to use the swivels, for the thighs that they don't really feel like they want to cooperate too much and they kind of feel gummy. But other than that, I really think that this guy can move too well in some areas. But I don't know. I feel like it was really overhyped and it's kind of under-delivering based on that hype. So if you were like, yeah, this is going to be bring it back. It's kind of on the same level as Super Saiyan 4 Goku. All right, so accessories, and this is actually really cool for Goku. We are going to get 2 different head sculpts. One of them is literally dedicated to the bang piece where his hair is going straight up, and then we get an alternate bang piece for the default head where he gets like a big super duper swoop. We get a few alternate face parts, which we are going to see for those face plates, which carry a fantastic range of emotions. We get a whole bunch of alternate hand parts, and we do get a Kamehameha, which is going to be, we'll take a quick look at that, just the Kamehameha times 10 that we got with the Super Saiyan 4 Goku release some time ago, but it's going to be blue. It's also the same one that the Orange Piccolo figure came with for the DLC for Ultimate Gohan. Same, it's just a more so frosty blue. It's not as deep blue. If you have used any of them and you put the light things in the ball, you pretty much know what you're doing here. This one is actually a bit better constructed than the Kamehameha times 10. I didn't feel like anything was going to break. Everything was very clear where it was going in. I feel like this one was a bit better constructed. Now, for the face plates, we're actually going to go ahead and run through them all along with the alternate head sculpt, which is basically the same as the original. It's just that the sculpt is more accommodating for the bangs that are going straight up. So we're going to take a look at all of them, as well as with the swoopy bang and the default bang, okay? So we do obviously get the normal, straightforward, neutral expression. Then Goku has a particular grin of the fecal consumption variety. I have to be advertiser friendly. All right, so we have that. Then we have like a teeth gritting face where he's in the heat of battle. He's angry. Maybe he's charging up. And then we just have the absolute ballistic rage face where he's screaming. And that is pretty much what this Goku is known for. Really cool here. I like this range of facial expressions for Goku. And then, of course, like I said, we're looking at all of the faceplates with both of the interchangeable heads and the bangs. I showed you in the articulation section how you pop off the head, and that's pretty much going to be it for the accessories except for the hands. Now, here's where we actually kind of sort of not really got to pay attention because we are going to get 1 set of hands to use the Kamehameha. All right, so now that is 1 of 5 extras. We get the normal sort of like ring and pinky down set, like the fighting karate hands. So that's another. Then we get another set of hands where the ring and pinky fingers are sort of splayed up a bit. So that's another set. And then we get another set of hands, which are going to be sort of completely splayed out. That's a third. We get a really set of splayed out hands. That's a fourth. And then we get a Kamehameha hand without the peg, a set of them. And that's your fifth. So basically we go from really splayed out Kamehameha, slightly closed hands, and then we get like the grip. So we get the range here. If you're into the very much so micro expressions, then this figure is going to be for you. Only thing we don't get is basically the instant transmission hand, which doesn't make sense for this figure. We've obviously had some action poses, so let's go ahead with a 360 spin view. For this particular release of Goku, honestly, we pretty much got everything that we could use. The only other thing that I may think of would be, instead of the charge effect, an actual Kamehameha, because again, we do already have this particular charge up effect with the Orange Piccolo, which is usable here. But with that being a P Bandai release and this being our general retail, okay, I see why this is here, but we do need an updated Kamehameha effect. Also, there is no like orb blast for him transferring energy to 100,000 million% Frieza. I think that one is coming soon though. I believe there was a hint for that, but nevertheless, I think this is a solid loadout for accessories. But if you are looking for some others, you know I have videos to help you out along with support stands. Now, if you are looking to pick this up, let's go ahead and do a size comparison so you can see exactly how big this guy is, alongside some other figures you may have on the shelf. For me commenting on scale, I'm going to bounce it back to you because Goku does change size depending on who is animating, depending on the page of the manga. So if you like how big it is, great. If you don't, that is going to be completely fine as well. Buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. I am going to say that I am a bit disappointed, more so particularly in the chest being a different color, and then them not painting the back of the pants. When it comes to the articulation, I feel like it was really hyped up, I believe, on a live stream from one of their social media people as being a, quote, 4.0, end quote. Don't quote me on that, but this is basically just going to be the standard, but for this particular Goku. So it is the new standard, but we get this design. Accessory loadout, fantastic. I really like this. Is it $68? No. I would say this would be closer to $50, especially considering we do have some of the softer plastic that is used, and we still have some of the quality control stuff that they need to hammer out with the factory in Vietnam. This is a great release, and you should not skip it. I just don't think the price is right. If they were able to lower the price, I would highly recommend this figure more than I am now. It's still a good purchase.